What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your second stimulus check update. Really good news, breaking news, actually. We're going to hear first from Senator Josh Hawley on the push to make the stimulus checks larger that happened on the Senate floor just moments ago. Then we're going to hear a big announcement from Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Let's just jump right into this. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe down below if you haven't yet so you don't miss out on new videos. Okay, first, Senator Josh Hawley.
I rise today to people or these people who are conservatives or Confederates. They want to bestow upon Black Lives Matter.
Mr. President, I rise today to discuss the COVID relief bill that I understand is soon to be brought before the House and then to this floor. I understand that we have finally, at long last, a deal that hopefully will result in real relief for the American people. And there is a piece of good news that I want to be sure to note. And that is that this COVID relief package will contain direct assistance to working people. For every working family in this country that needs it, they will be, under this deal, getting a direct check, just like they did in March. Now, that is a victory, Mr. President. There's no two ways about it, and we should celebrate that victory, not on our own behalf, but for the many people in this nation who desperately need it, and who until just a few days ago could expect nothing at all in the way of direct assistance from this body. And I want to thank those who've worked so hard to make sure that this relief was available and is going to the working people of this country, not least the President of the United States, who has been very clear over and over again that he wants to see direct relief to working families, that it should be the cornerstone of the bill. And of course, I thank Senator Sanders for his strong stand on this issue, and it's been a privilege to work with him on it. So this is good news for working families, good news for working people just before Christmas when they need the help the most. But I have to say that the levels of support that I understand will be offered to working people are hardly adequate, and we should not pretend otherwise, Mr. President. $600 per person, $600 per child. This is a fraction of what was offered to working people in the CARES legislation just a few months ago. Legislation, I might add, that every member of this body voted for. Every member voted for. And now they'll be getting only a portion of that. It all adds up to about $100 billion. And we're told that there just wasn't enough left over. There just wasn't any more available for working people. But yet I noticed, Mr. President, that in the spending bill that we're also going to vote on as part of this package, a bill that costs over $1 trillion, we managed to have found $65 million for salmon recovery in the Pacific, $643 million to carry out international communication activities in the Middle East, $116 million for the Export-Import Bank, $118 million for that sterling example of international leadership, the World Health Organization, that has done more to undermine world health in the last year than I think any international organization in the history of the world. Then there's the so-called bipartisan proposal, which is the basis for the present deal. The bipartisan proposal, which included, I might point out, not a cent in direct relief for working people. Almost $1 trillion in costs, not one penny in direct relief for working people until it was added recently. That proposal included $20 billion for higher education, $20 billion. This going to many universities who have massive endowments worth billions and billions of dollars, most of that built on the backs of taxpayers, I might add. And yet, we cannot find any further funds to help working people in this country. I cannot help but note, Mr. President, that working people were the last consideration in the draconian shutdowns earlier this year that sent so many of them home, that cost them their jobs, that cost them their wages, that cost them their health care on the job, and they have consistently been the last consideration in COVID relief in this body ever since. And frankly, Mr. President, it's disgraceful, and frankly, it's unacceptable. So the work that we're going to do today, and I hope to see a vote on this floor yet today on this relief, it is a step in the right direction, but it is only a step. And I hope that it will be the beginning, Mr. President, of a better approach, the beginning of actually putting working Americans first, putting their needs, putting their independence, putting their strength, their families, their communities first. That ought to be the economic policy of this nation. That ought to be the economic policy of this body. And I can assure you that is the foundation on which economic recovery will be built.
So strong words from Senator Josh Hawley there, who says it's good news that we're going to get something passed with $600 per person. A family of four will get $2,400. We're going to get to the details here in a second, but we have a breaking new announcement from Senator Mitch McConnell, who is the Senate Majority Leader for the Republicans. But let me back up a second here. Senator Josh Hawley is going to be very important, as he said. This is a step in the right direction. And honestly, he's going to be one of the leading persons to get us more stimulus passed next month. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says they know they're going to have to pass more stimulus starting as early as next month with the Biden administration. He says he knows the Biden administration is pushing for more stimulus, and Republican Senator Josh Hawley will be one of the leading candidates from the Republican side pushing for more stimulus checks next month, along with what I expect to be money for states and cities, which some of that money will come back around in rental assistance to you. Now, let me go to the breaking news statement from Senator Mitch McConnell on the Senate floor just moments ago.
And importantly for the American people, we can finally report what our nation has needed to hear for a very long time. More help is on the way. Moments ago, in consultation with our committees, the four leaders of the Senate and the House finalized an agreement. There will be another major rescue package for the American people. As our citizens continue battling this coronavirus this holiday season, they will not be fighting alone. We've agreed to a package of nearly $900 billion. It is packed with targeted policies that help struggling Americans who've already waited entirely too long. For workers at the hardest hit small businesses, there will be a targeted second draw of the Paycheck Protection Program. We've not worked so hard to save as many jobs as possible all these months, only to fumble the ball with vaccinations already underway. Speaking of vaccines, we can nullify the success of Operation Warp Speed by falling asleep at the switch on distribution. So this agreement will provide huge sums for the logistics that will get these life-saving shots to our citizens as fast as possible. Of course, many millions of Americans have lost their jobs and are continuing to lose them through no fault of their own. This package will renew and extend a number of the additional important federal unemployment benefits that have helped families stay afloat. Across all kinds of families, in all kinds of situations, this has been a difficult time across the board. So at the particular request and emphasis of President Trump and his administration, our agreement will provide another round of direct impact payments to help households make ends meet and continue our economic recovery. We all know this crisis has tested our health care providers. This legislation will continue to fund the front lines. But the crisis in American education has been staggering as well. So this package will supply billions and billions of dollars to help kids back in school, and to do so safely. These are just some of the key components. There are many more. And importantly, we're going to supply this emergency aid in a way that is smart and responsible. We'll be repurposing more than $560 billion in money that was already set aside by the CARES Act, but not spent, toward these urgent needs that I've outlined. And we'll be appropriately paring back some of the most expansive powers that Congress temporarily gave unelected officials to stabilize the financial system back in the springtime. And I want to particularly thank Senator Toomey for his extraordinary contribution to that effort. At long last, we have the bipartisan breakthrough the country has needed Now we need to promptly finalize text, avoid any last-minute obstacles, and cooperate to move this legislation through both chambers. So this is good news, Mr. President, but I need to close with one observation that is regrettable. From where I stand, from where Senate Republicans stand, there's no reason why this urgent package could not have been signed into law multiple months ago. Multiple months ago. For months, Senate Republicans have consistently supported a targeted rescue package under $1 trillion, focused on the same kinds of policies that we've actually settled on today. As far back as July and all autumn, Republicans have consistently supported a targeted package right in the ballpark of this total amount with exactly the same kinds of policies in the mix. The package that will shortly become law falls exactly within the ballpark of what Senate Republicans have been proposing and trying to pass since last summer. This is eerily similar to what we were trying to pass last summer. Compare the shape of this major agreement with the shape of what I proposed all the way back in late July. Yes, some fine details are different. There's no doubt this new agreement contains input from our Democratic colleagues. It is, of course, bipartisan, but those matters could have been settled a long time ago as well. So why did it take all this time? We know why. We've heard Democrats say openly they were not willing to deal all summer and fall, but are willing now because they have a president-elect of their own political party. So look, I'm glad we've gotten this done. My Democratic colleagues and I have had good discussions this past week. Both parties have a lot to be proud of, but I really regret that some on the Democratic side decided that partisan presidential politics were more important than getting urgent and non-controversial relief out the door much sooner to families who have needed this help badly.
So, man, a lot to talk about. Mitch McConnell throws in a dig there at Nancy Pelosi, who basically admitted that she held up the stimulus check negotiations over the whole summer, or at least the end of summer, because, and she says it was okay because now they have a new president. Those aren't her exact words, but those are pretty much her exact words. And Mitch McConnell was made sure to throw that in there for everybody to hear who was listening, because, I mean, honestly, both sides are to blame, but those are the words from Mitch McConnell. Basically, let's go over all the different things that he said. Real big news there. He says they have an official deal with the Democrats, so largely this is expected to pass because both sides agree on it. There'll probably be a few no's in there, probably from Republicans, people like Ron Johnson who don't want to vote yes on anything. But I largely expect this to pass. And I believe he said in there that now they have to put this in a bill and vote it on in the House and the Senate. So that has not happened yet. They haven't even released the bill on this. The details that we've been hearing, but it hasn't been released, is that $600 checks for individuals, $600 checks for children 18 and below. The 18 point, we don't know. The initial wording that I've heard here in the last few hours from some sources in the Washington Post is that adult dependents are going to be left out again in this stimulus package. That's unfortunate, but that is just a rumor at this point because they haven't released the actual bill. Okay. So we're also hearing that unemployment is probably going to be 11 or 12 weeks, and it could start as early as December 27th or January 1st with $300 per week unemployment extension. And I also think they're going to extend the PUA, so the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, the unemployment for independent self-contractors and people who are gig workers, that they will extend that going forward and have a $300 boost for them, as well as anybody else who has lost their unemployment. I'm not expecting any retroactive, but that could be in there. The interesting part is they haven't even released this bill to their own senators and their own representatives yet. So as he said, they have to basically draft this bill now. now and vote on it tonight, or else we're going to see a government shutdown. This is going to happen really, really late. In fact, Senator Chuck Schumer said to the reporters, I hope you guys have your cots around here because you're basically going to be sleeping at the White House or at Capitol Hill tonight. Because now I don't know if I'm going to have an update for you way late tonight. If it's like around midnight, I might just wait till the morning. Honestly, the House might pass this tonight and the Senate might vote for it in the morning. If that happens, there will be a temporary government shutdown. They're saying in this bill, when they're going to pass this bill, there's also going to be a temporary continuing resolution in the passage of the bill because basically they have to pass it in the House, pass it in the Senate. The Congressional Budget Office has to go over it and approve it and make sure that everything's correct that they're saying in this bill. And then it has to be passed by the president. So all that's going to likely take a day or two, somewhere in there. So again, I will keep you updated. Make sure you're subscribed with the bell icon on. New videos come out typically at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If I do post a new video tonight, it might be around 11 p.m., but if it's too late, I'll just publish it in the morning. All you need to do to check, because you likely won't get a notification, YouTube always sends out 3 notifications per day, and we've already done 3 videos today, is just bring up YouTube and just type in It's Jimmy in there. Go to my channel and just see if you've watched the latest video. If it does come out, it probably will be at 11. If not, it'll be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 7 a.m. West Coast time. If you're in the middle, you're somewhere in the middle there. But yeah, big news is that they have come to an agreement with the Democrats and the Republicans. So basically now it's just a formality of voting on it, which is really good news because at least they're passing something. Also, another big thing to note there is that $560 billion, Mitch McConnell said, is from that repurposed money that is left over. So technically, they're only passing about $340 billion of new money here. And that will be a big figure going forward for the next stimulus package that Senator Josh Hawley, even from the Republican side, said that he will be pushing for because they're basically only passing $340 billion roundabout of new money. They're using $560 billion of old money that has been passed that hasn't been spent yet. So when they go for the next package, they're basically going to say, hey, listen, that last package only cost us $300 billion. We need to really probably do another trillion or another 800 or $700 billion. I expect another round of stimulus checks in there, $600 to $1,200, depending on what they negotiate, and a round of money for states and cities, funding for states and cities that are struggling right now. And some of that money will come back around to you guys in rent assistance. Remember, a lot of these states, cities, and counties are actually paying up to $5,000 in rent assistance for you. I will keep you guys updated on all this, along with all those state and local city programs and how to claim the rent assistance and food assistance money in this larger stimulus package. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on Amazon FBA. I have dozens of students that have replaced their 9-to-5 income selling products on Amazon, and I teach them how to do that. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.